Okay, we are in episode 24. In 23, Beowulf had brought Grendel's head into Heorot, where Hrothgar and Wealhtheow were sitting, and now Beowulf will speak to them. Beowulf spoke. Hrothgar, behold, great Healfdene's son, this glorious sign of victory, brought you by joyful Geats. My life was almost lost, fighting for it, struggling underwater. I'd have been dead at once and the fight finished, the she-devil victorious, if our Father in heaven had not helped me. Hrunting, Unferth's noble weapon, could do nothing, nor could I, until the ruler of the world showed me, hanging shining and beautiful on a wall, a mighty old sword. So God gives guidance to those who can find it from no one else. That is a perfect example of the theme of religion. What Beowulf is stating is that God will give guidance to those people who are willing to believe in him, who are willing to trust him. And because Beowulf trusted God, God helped him be victorious. I used the weapon he had offered me, drew it, and, when I could, swung it, killed the monstrous hag in her own home. Then the ring-marked blade burned away, as the boiling blood spilled out. I carried all of that was left, this hilt. I avenged their crimes and the Danes they've killed, and I promise you that whoever sleeps in Heorot, you, your brave soldiers, anyone of all the people in Denmark, old or young, they and you, may now sleep without fear of either monster, mother or son. Then he gave the golden sword hilt to Hrothgar, who held it in his wrinkled hands and stared at what giants had made and monsters owned. It was his, an ancient weapon shaped by wonderful smiths, now that Grendel and his evil mother had been driven from the earth, God's enemies scattered and dead. That best of swords belonged to the best of Denmark's rulers, the wisest ring-giver Danish warriors had ever known. The old king bent close to the handle of the ancient relic, and saw written there the story of ancient wars between good and evil. The opening of the waters, the flood sweeping giants away, how they suffered and died, the race who hated the ruler of us all and received judgment from his hands, surging waves that found them wherever they fled. And Hrothgar saw runic letters clearly carved in that shining hilt, spelling its original owner's name, he for whom it was made, with its twisted handle and snake-like carvings. Then he spoke, Healfdene's son, and everyone was silent. What I say, speaking from a full memory, and after a life spent in seeking what was right for my people, is this. This prince of the Geats, Beowulf, was born a better man. Your fame is everywhere, my friend, reaches to the end of the earth, and you hold in your heart wisely, patient with your strength and our weakness. What I said I will do, in the name of the friendship we've sworn. Your strength must solace your people, now and mine no longer. Be not as Hermod once was to my people, too proud to care what their hearts hid, bringing them only destruction and slaughter. In his mad rages he killed them himself, comrades and followers who ate at his table. At the end he was alone, knew none of the joys of life with other men, a famous ruler granted greater strength than anyone alive in his day, but dark and bloodthirsty in spirit. He shared out no treasure, showed his soldiers no road to riches and fame. And then that affliction on his people's face suffered horribly for his sins. Be taught by his lesson. Learn what a king must be. I tell his tale, old as I am, only for you. So, after Beowulf explains what happened, explains that Unferth's sword didn't work, Hrothgar looks at the handle, and on the handle or on the hilt of the sword there are ancient carvings of stories of good versus evil, all linking back to that theme. The sword that defeated the evil, held by that person who was considered good, was triumphant. Beowulf then talks about how he kept his promise, everyone is safe, all the evil has been purged. Beowulf then gives the sword hilt to Hrothgar. Hrothgar then begins a very long, extended formal speech. So long that it actually goes into episode 25. His speech begins with his memories of his reign and the good that he completed. So he's kind of presenting himself as a good leader. Hrothgar then compliments Beowulf, and then Hrothgar says, I'm going to keep my promise and reward you as I stated. He then tells the story of Hermod. This is important. This is an epic simile. Hrothgar is trying to outline for Beowulf, Hermod was a man in the past who was just as strong, just as smart, just as loved as Beowulf. But what Hermod did is he became selfish, and he stopped rewarding his soldiers and stopped listening to his people and became so bloodthirsty and so consumed in his own well-being that he died alone, that he died unhappy, and his people suffered because of it. What Hrothgar is doing is he's giving a warning to Beowulf. You have all the makings of a great leader, but be smart and be kind and be wise and be giving in order for your people to be successful, to love you, and for you to be happy. So let's finish 24. Our eternal Lord grants some men wisdom, some wealth, makes others great. The world is God's. He allows a man to grow famous and his family rich, gives him land and towns to rule and delight in, lets his kingdom reach as far as the world runs. And who in human unwisdom in the middle of such power remembers that it all will end, and too soon? Prosperity, prosperity, prosperity. Nothing troubles him. No sickness, not passing time, no sorrows, no sudden war breaking out of nowhere. But all the world turns when he spins it. How can he know when he sins? So Hrothgar ends by saying, we all have the ability to be good, or we all have the ability to be evil. God grants us all of our wealth. He grants us everything in our lives. But we have the control in our being to either take what God gives us and do good or do evil. So what Hrothgar is trying to outline for Beowulf is that it's up to Beowulf to determine if he wants to be a good leader or if he wants to be an evil leader.